What if I told you this team right here, this GL Ray at Relic 9, could get beaten by not a GL, but by Emperor Palpatine and the Palpatine Express with Vader, Thrawn, Mara Jade, and Watt? Don't believe me? Well, take a look. But before we do that, we're going to take a look at some mods. On Vader, you're going to want speed and offense with just a little bit of potency. On Palpatine, you're going to want a lot of potency and a lot of protection because he'll stack his protection every time he inflicts shock. On Mara Jade, you'll want speed, and potency. Potency because you want to land that tenacity down, those debuffs, everything, you want that. And then on Grand Admiral Thrawn, you want pure speed to get him as fast as possible. Now, I don't have all the speeds of the teams that I faced in these videos or their mods, but I went ahead and found the top mods in the game, went and threw it in the little calculator I generated, and found that Vader would still go first, which is so key in these battles. So in this first battle, I'm going to go over kind of how it works, and then we're going to jump into why it works. So to start out, you're going to pass the Blast Tech Weapon mod over to Vader. Rey's always going to do Lifeblood, and you're going to take advantage of that. Force Crush on Rey, not Merciless, Force Crush. You'll then go over to Merciless, making sure you're still targeting Rey, because every time Watt's going to stack some more dots. You're going to go around slapping ability blocks, except on Rey, because you're going to use Force Crush, and then on that last unit, you're going to use Yeet the Saber to give the team turn mirror. Go back to Rey, slap an ability block, fracture Rey as soon as you can. In this one, I believe I might have passed over turn mirror. No, it's fractured. Then you're going to want to get tenacity down and vulnerable, and then shocks and staggers out there. Then you're going to start going around, pew pew, shooting everybody, getting turn meter through the veins, making sure to pop every single one of those staggers so that you can control that turn meter and they don't get out there and take some turns. You're going to want to make sure to keep an eye on Rey's turn meter and some eyes on Thrawn's, using specials accordingly to drop it. You're going to keep going, going to apply some shock. I suggest putting Shield Generator on Palpatine because he's going to stack his protection and get really thick. Now, Vader's not yet ready, but that's okay because when Thrawn comes out, he's going to pass a turnover, make sure to target Rey, Force Crush, then go into Merciless. You should probably have about like 20 stacks, and boom, out of the game, and you've got this one locked down. All you have to do is wait for them to drop damage immunities, stuff like that. And pretty much after this, it's just a cakewalk to clean up and finish up the team. There's no strategy. It's just keep them locked down, keep banners, get turn meter, just absolutely control the situation. Now, how does that work? Well, you see, at the start of every battle, Rey will always begin with Lifeblood. And when she does that, if Blast Tech Weapon mod, she gives 15% turn meter to the person with that, which is going to be going to Vader, which then means he can get out in front of some of these high speed, I'm talking bonkers 398 speed after Rey's lead Finns. That's right, a 279 Vader booking it. Absolutely getting out there almost above a 400 speed Finn. And once that happens, all the rest doesn't matter. And so I'm going to hop over to our slides here, and I'm going to show you why this works, how it works, and also the link will be down in the description to this Google Slides, or Google Sheets, sorry, and it's got a formula in there. It takes Rey's speed, it takes the unit speed, bunch of math stuff that probably would bore you to death, but at the end I'll explain how that works too. So Vader, my Vader at least, is 279. That means he's going to have a bonus speed of 327 because he's going to get 8 for Thrawn, 8 for Mara Jade, 16 for himself, and 16 for Palpatine. That means at the start of the battle, he'll have 54% turn mirror, which if you look down at Finn, he's going to have 60, meaning he is going to go first. But because Rey's going to be at 100% because she's always going to be the first character to go, that means her base speed or leadership speed of 635 is going to technically be the 100 speed threshold. You do some math there, you throw 327, divide that by 635, you got the 54%. Now, if Rey goes ahead and gives Lifeblood, which she always will, that'll give 15% turn meter to Vader from the Blast Tech Weapon mod. putting him at 69% speed or turn mirror, and Ray 0. 69, that's going to beat out the 60, which is effectively making Vader more than 400 speed just because of the Blast Tech weapon mod. Then after that, you kind of go through that turn where I go Force Crush, and then you try and target someone with dots or debuffs at all. And with 5 debuffs, I've got it all broken down. 5 debuffs, you're going to get 78% turn mirror to Palpatine, 79 to Thrawn, and then 67 to Mara Jade, which still is enough to outspeed a 398 speed Finn. If that still feels too close, like you're sitting there going, ooh, that's a little close, just a 7%, well, 6 debuffs, you're going to be at 72. 7 debuffs, you're going to be at 77. 8 debuffs, you're going to be at 82. 9 debuffs, you'll be at 98% turn meter, 99 for Thrawn, and 87 for Mara Jade. Now, that means Vader's going to go before Finn, Mara Jade's going to go before Finn, all because of that 15% turn meter boost prior or after Rey takes her turn. And since Rey is going to be always the number 1 speed, Vader's going to be based off of that. So now you know how to work it and why to work it, and we're gonna then jump into another one and give you another example of why that 50% turn mirror can make this so much better. There's gonna be some loose conditions where there's some misplays, there's some teams that you don't want to go against, and I'll tell you about them too. So the team that you see right in front of you is probably going to be the easiest one to counter. If they've got Holdo, if they've got C-3PO or Holdo and BB-8, or BB-8 and JTR, or C-3PO and BB-8, or C-3PO and JTR, you're probably going to be able to beat it. JTR is the only unit who throws a little bit of a problem into it, especially if it's JTR and Holdo. If you go up against JTR and Holdo, I believe I've got one later, because of the evasion, you're going to have to fracture Holdo instead of Rey, making it so that Rey is able to gain a lot more turn meter because she's no longer at 50% of her speed, which unfortunately means she's going to take a turn and then wipe out your team 9 times out of 10. I'll show you what I mean about that later. But if there's no JTR and Holdo, you should be able to beat most teams. And most teams are going to be Finn, Rey, JTR, and then one other person. Generally is BB-8 or C-3PO from what I've seen. I've rarely seen Holdo mixed in, but I have had a couple of circumstances, and in those ones, you just gotta stay back and say, well, that's not going to happen because JTR plus Holdo is just a mess. We're now going to jump over to the next one and kind of break down again, turn by turn, showing you how it's done, and also this one poses some interesting stuff. We're going to drop the Blast Tech weapon mod over to Vader. She's going to go out. Vader's going to do Merciless because he just got 15% turn mirror boost after Rey took a turn. You're going to walk around the park, ability blocking everyone. And I noticed that the Holdos already have 4, which means I'm most likely going to get that 5 to outspeed these Finns. And then we're going to fracture Rey here. You're going to then get some stuns out there, have some fun, push Thrawn's turn mirror back, get debuffs, get more debuffs, and then start popping those staggers on anyone who didn't get stunned. You're going to keep slapping some shocks around, making sure to push back turn mirror so Palpatine can keep getting that 90% turn mirror from his basic. And in this one, you'll notice I don't quite get enough debuffs, and I remember correctly, I accidentally put Rey into damage immunity early, which is something you've always got to be careful of, always got to be cognizant of, because here I'm going a little bit too much ham, and then when we go to target Rey with Vader, unfortunately, because I slap right here with the basic, I put her in, well, later when I do Force Crush, I accidentally don't get enough dots. I'm sitting at 18, now I'm at 20 or 19, and I go for the yeet. It wasn't enough. What I should have done was basicked around one more turn and then Force Crush on someone else, because you'll notice right here I had Force Crush. That would have given me enough dots to go back over to Rey, throw the lightsaber in, and knock her down. You're always going to want more, 20 plus, especially on Relic like 7s and 8s, you're going to want 20 plus. On Relic 9s, I haven't had a lot of practice, but I'd imagine you're still going to want to be in the upper 20s. And in this one, I contemplated just being like, you know what, it's game over. Let's just leave because there's no sense in continuing this battle. But I figured, we'll give it a shot, because every time Palpatine inflicts shock, he is gaining max protection. And so I was like, you know what, let's try it. And so I'm inflicting shock a lot and making sure everyone is still under shock. And you see right here, I was like, I probably should quit. But I wanted to give it a try. Giving mods over to the people I want to try and survive. I'm hoping that I could get Mara Jade and Vader sticking around, and Palpatine, especially with that weapon tech, he's going to gain protection back. And so I was like, maybe. And right here, we're going to have Rey pop ultimate in a second. And in most cases, this should kill off the entire team. But it didn't. Palpatine had stacked up enough max protection that he was able to soak the offensive boost. Because every time someone gains turn meter, Palpatine's gaining offense. Now, little did I know, I had 2 GL Palpatines in my lineup. One on Emperor Palpatine and the Sith Eternal himself. But here we are, clearing up the rest of the team. It's a very finicky operation of making sure you've stacked enough defense or protection and not giving Rey enough offense. And if a Rey has a high offense, especially like probably the top tier Reys, unless you have a top tier modded protection Palpatine, you're not going to survive that AoE. And in this next one, you will be able to see that, because I have another slip up, just because this is while I'm still ironing out the wrinkles. What ends up happening is, despite the Force Crush, all that, going through everything, I wasn't paying attention to Thrawn's turn on this one, if I remember correctly. And he let go of Fracture way too soon, which ended up screwing me over, and then Rey just decided to, take over and be like, hey, I'm going to take a turn now. Because right there, I gave Thrawn too much turn mirror from applying shock, and Vader wasn't ready. In this one, I didn't allow, I should have just kept using basic from Mara Jade instead of using the other ones, but just let Palpatine stack. But I'm fairly certain this Rey was also modded more for offense, while the other one was not. And you'll see that here, kabloom, 19,000 damage, wow, which was not enough. He didn't stack up enough protection at all. Take a look at this one, boom, 19,000. And actually, this is the same Rey, now that I noticed. So 15,000. The other one was 19,000. I must have been able to manipulate the turn meter just enough that she didn't get that massive offense boost. Now, JTR, as I said, in this lineup, can throw a monkey wrench into this, because she pretty much will always cleanse debuffs off of herself, meaning that you're not going to get shock applied on her. And then she can really mess you up if she decides to do a little mind trick over on Vader, remove 100% turn meter and inflict daze. She is the bane to this existence, and every time you are inflicting debuffs, she's gaining turn meter. So, like I said, she really can throw a wrench in this and can completely mess it up. There's also like a passive cleanse whenever inspiration is critically hit, if an ally loses inspiration. So you want to try and get rid of inspiration on GL Rey as quickly as possible, because otherwise then she's just going to cleanse all those debuffs off and you're gonzo. Another mistake there, I should have again waited for more stacks of debuffs, but I did not. And obviously Rey's going to go in ultimate. But that's just showing like JTR really can mess this up. It puts a lot more RNG into this. You still can beat it as long as you follow those little steps. You're sitting there in the back of your head making sure that you're controlling Rey's turn mirror, controlling Thrawn's, and then also stacking enough debuffs on Rey. But the second you add Holdo in there with JTR, it's game over. You're not going to be able to beat it with Emperor Palpatine. But that then does open up more options for like gas counters and etc, because then it's not as strong of a team. And speaking of a little bit of different teams, the next one is known as the Rey Jedi Nuke team, which can counter JMK. And guess what? Palpatine, Vader, they don't like Jedi, especially Vader. His little turn meter that he has is going to be through the roof. And so let's flip on over. We've got ourselves Gas, Jedi Knight Luke, and the Satchel Bros with Rey. But that doesn't matter because Vader is going to have even more speed. So even if he didn't have that blast attack weapon mod, more than likely he would be able to outrun Finn. But it's just nice to still have it because we know that just in case something happens, he can hopefully get up and running again. I did just want to point out, every time you're taking Vader's turns, keep an eye on Thrawn's, because you want all of Vader's cooldowns to be at 1 when you notice Thrawn's getting close to take a turn, because you can pass the turn over with Thrawn and then get all these just insta deletes out of the way instantaneously. And that's really what you got to pay attention to, because if Vader's cooldowns are at 2 and Thrawn's about to take a turn, start using some specials to push back Thrawn's turn mirror. You might want to use Shock first from Palpatine and then Cackling Doom to pull out turn meter twice, and then also hopefully give Mara Jade and those guys some turn meter to then get in front of Thrawn. Now, there is one more battle right here at the end. If you want to watch it, it's going to go over, and this one's really clean because I make sure to pay attention to Thrawn's turn meter, to Rey's turn meter, and then also make sure I'm stacking those dots. You see I've got already 14 debuffs. Once I apply the Fracture, we got 15, and Mara Jade hasn't even gone out yet to apply stuff. And just like that, we're getting debuffs out there, pushing turn meter back. And then it's just a wait and a clock just waiting there, sitting, tick-tock, tick-tock. Rey's life is about to be heeded by Emperor Palpatine, by Thrawn, by Vader, and by a redhead named Mara Jade. As always, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe potentially, and as always, this has been the Grand Admiral, and end transmission.